And we're back!
Yes, hello!
Hello and welcome to the fourth and final round on the 2018 mid-season showdown in Stockholm, Sweden, when we got a really exciting game here by Pontus Westerlund, who's already qualified for this year's World Cup in Nashville, Tennessee, and Nils Dunlop, who has been doing very good the 2-3 last years, needing just 20 championship points from this tournament to have his qualification to this year's Worlds secured.
Right, and since this is 4 rounds and they're both 3-0, they're both already guaranteed a place in top 4 cut, which means that Nils has actually qualified for Worlds, so congrats to him. And maybe we should go through what these two players are known for, because they do have some notable international results. So Pontus Westerlund, he was a player in the VGC 16 Worlds, and additionally he got second at the Bremen Regionals, as well as he managed to get day 2 at London Internets.
Yeah.
So all pretty impressive results. And as mentioned, he is qualified for Worlds. As for Nils, do you want to go through his achievements?
And yes, as we all know, I think that going straight from being a really good seniors playing, managed to get top 8 in the Worlds 2016. First year master last year, he was able to get top 8 in London in the beginning of the season, then being top 8 in the US Nationals and World Cup.
World Championships,
yes, and then managed to get top 16 in London, the first tournament this season, which is a majority.
Actually bubbling at 9th place.
Yes.
So his consistency with top cuts has been absolutely crazy.
Yeah. Having that period the last summer with the US Nationals and Worlds when he went.
And we're getting a bit of a spoiler here. Thanks, Pontus.
8-0 in Swiss rounds at the US Nationals, and then 9-0 in Worlds, which is amazing.
Yeah, I guess Pontus doesn't know he's showing everyone his team, but well, he is.
Yeah.
Good job, Pontus.
Yeah. Yeah. So should we go through teams then?
We could do that. We could also bring in a more suitable plushie.
When the Snorlax coming in. Yeah.
Hello. So they haven't started just yet.
No, there is the issue that as we're playing on a capture card, you can't really do that from live competition, etc. I think that's the case. So they have to. I think they're exiting the live competition actually.
They're doing live festival plaza, I believe.
Yeah. So we'll soon dig into this exciting best of 3 set.
Right. So I would say these are pretty much Sweden's top 2 players.
Don't be so modest. You're also qualified for Worlds this year.
Yes, I was 3rd, obviously. Yeah, but just looking at the results, they had the best results at an international
Very
level.
consistent over several years of playing as well. Because it's one thing qualifying for Worlds just for once, but doing it twice. It's not a coincidence if it doesn't do it at least twice.
Yeah, definitely.
So pretty soon we'll see both of the players' team. We already got a sneak peek of a little bit of Pontus' team.
Yeah, perhaps more than a sneak peek.
Yeah, so going into this round, I'm going to spoil Nils' team as well, even though I'm not going to spoil any movesets or anything like that. Nils has got a Metagross, Incineroar, Snorlax, Tapu Koko, Landorus, and Mimikyu.
Okay, and Pontus will be using Landorus, Cresselia, Snorlax, Bisharp, Charizard, and Tapu Koko.
Some similarities there.
Yeah, I would like to note that Pontus' team seems to be like fairly offensively oriented. You have the Charizard, which is obviously more of an hyper offense Pokemon, paired with the Koko and the Bisharp. Bisharp presumably to scare away all those pesky Landuses and Incineroars that Charizard doesn't really like.
Yeah.
Then you have a bit of a Trick Room mode with Cresselia and Snorlax. Snorlax is a favorite of Pontus's, I believe. He does really like using it. And finally rounding it out with a Landorus team. Yeah.
So what is going to be defining for this game, I think, is that because we do see both players having this kind of a similar Trick Room mode with Snorlax and a Trick Room setter. So
but a significant difference is Nils has the
Mimikyu as well.
Mimikyu.
Yeah. So it's kind of a question of maybe someone has a Snorlax that isn't going to be min speed. Maybe don't want Trick Room to go up against an opposing Snorlax is probably min speed.
True, or they might just not go with their Snorlax moves at all.
Yeah, and also one exciting thing looking at Pontus team is that Bisharp, because that will prevent, or not prevent, but it's going to make Nils more less comfortable bringing in either Incineroar or Landers having the Intimidate ability. On the one hand, lowering Bisharp's attack by one stage, but that Defiant ability is going to put it up to making it +1 and the threats before neither of them is even going to move.
Yeah, definitely. So Nils can't really safely lead Landorus or Incineroar, which is a shame because those are obviously fantastic against Charizard and also pretty decent against Coco, right?
Yep.
So an option for him could be just going at the Mimilax mode. I'm not sure entirely how Pontus counters it. Especially if that's the Destiny Bond Mimikyu, which has been one of the more popular options when paired with Snorlax, right?
Yes, it is. Then we might see a trade. Let's say that Mimi goes for a C Destiny Bond working as the redirection, but if something knocks that out, it's going to go down, but Mimi is going to go down as well. Making it very difficult.
The trade is usually worth it, right? You want to trade.
Yeah. That's why you go for the C move. Similar players are. No one really caring about the.
That nice player customization. I can hear them giggling about it from here.
But let's go into this game.
Pokemon Trainer Blue. And he actually leads Landorus and Coco, so he is willing to risk leading into Bisharp.
Yep.
However, Pontus doesn't lead it. Okay. A calculated risk.
It's going to be very exciting looking at the Electric Surge, so it looks like Nils' Landorus is the fastest thing on the field.
So confirming Scarf.
Yep, and as Pontus Landorus goes second, that means that it's also Scarfed. Also Scarfed. And it looks like Pontus Coco is at least a speed type. At least a speed type.
Almost certainly speed type.
Almost, yeah.
And this looks like a real mirror match here.
It is. So
both Cocos are pretty threatened by those Scarf Landoruses, so they will probably have to protect the switch out here, right?
Yeah, probably. And if either of the Landoruses is a special variant that's picking up a lot of popularity lately, they usually carry HP Ice, threatening the other Landers with a super effective or 4 times super effective.
Notably also, Earth Power can KO the Coco through Intimidate.
It does.
So another option there.
Not being affected by the Intimidate, obviously.
Yeah, this is gonna be an interesting turn. Okay, so Nils is just gonna withdraw the Coco and send us Snorlax.
I think in the Snorlax is going to be able to take a Nerf power if Pontus decides to go into that. And we also see a switch from Pontus' side.
And Nils' Landorus is confirmed to be...
predicting the Landorus on Pontus' side staying in there, going for a 4 times super effective HPIs, managing to take it up with 1 hit.
Yeah,
which is huge, because...
Not much of a prediction, right? Because if he expects Pontus to be a physical Landorus, then he knows he's not in any danger.
Yeah, that is true. But...
Bisharp comes in a bit too late to actually get the boost here.
But it is going to threaten that Snorlax on Nils' side with a knockoff, preventing it from going to... First of all, it's going to do quite a lot of damage, but most importantly, knocking off that presumed pinch berry on Snorlax.
However, well, the Landorus is locked into HPI, so it will probably want to switch here, right?
It is.
It can't really harm the Bisharp.
No, and
so Snorlax is in a bit of a tight spot. However, if it has Protect, it
that is one thing I personally don't like with Scarf Landorus, at least a special variant, because even though you might be able to get a quick KO on the first or second turn, you're locked into that. HPI is not going to do anything to pretty much anyone.
But he actually knocks off the Mimikyu,
maybe
which switched into Landorus, predicting a Protect perhaps. And loses some HP, confirming its life for Bisharp.
So let's see if Snorlax goes for Belladrum. It does!
Ooh,
nice
totally
play there by Nils, predicting the knockoff, not going to the Snorlax out, which is an obvious play.
I mean, perhaps wasn't even a read, because he knows knockoff won't do enough damage, right?
Yeah, but
he
without...
will still be able to drum. And then he has the redirection from a Mimikyu. So that could also be what he was going for here.
Although without being able to heal back and recycle, then...
Right, but you still get a kill.
Yeah. But then the Trick Room mode, or the presumed Trick Room mode, is going to be kind of useless in the long run.
Yeah.
So I do believe that was a prediction.
See a helping hand from Cress. Okay. And the Mimikyu will be Z-moving, and this is indeed a Ghostium Z.
That is the Ghostium Z, most likely going to be to be the Z Destiny Bond, redirecting any attacks going into the Snorlax slot, and if Bisharp decides to go for an attack here. Oh, he actually goes for the low kick, not being affecting, so Mimikyu doesn't go down, which means that Bishop doesn't go down, but it's not going to do any damage.
Yeah. Ouch, that helping hand was totally wasted.
Yes.
And now he's throwing down a +6 Snorlax.
Yeah, and also an interesting mechanics here with the Z Destiny Bond is that Nils could go for Protector on Snorlax, going for a Trick Room on Mimikyu, which is negative priority, which means that the Destiny Bomb will follow the speed of that Mimikyu. So if Mimikyu goes for a negative priority move, then even though it's naturally faster than the Bisharp, it will make the Bisharp go down if it targets Mimikyu. Going for a Trick Room.
But I think at this point Pontus just wants to go into that Snorlax, try to deal with it somehow.
Mimikyu is actually going to switch out, getting into Tapu Koko again, and going for Protect on the Snorlax.
A fair play, fair play.
Yeah.
He actually taunts what was previously the Mimikyu slot.
Yeah. So, but that was a good play by Nilsson, because otherwise you'd just been taunted and not being able to go for a Trick Room if he had chosen to.
And more importantly, that Koko is now threateing the Bisharp, so it won't get another attack off.
Which we saw didn't carry a focus edge, which it was usually do. There is something going on here. Maybe some kind of...
I think we assume that was a forfeit, because that game looked so convincingly won for Nils.
We're not sure though. It might have been a disconnection.
Might have been, but I will count this as a win for Nils regardless. I'm gonna note it down as that for now.
Så vi ser. Ivan var... Ja. Jag vet faktiskt inte, alltså, vi styr ju inte något.
Nils vann ju ändå matchen, så ge honom vinsten. So it was a disconnect, but we'll take it later. I'm not entirely sure.
And we're not in charge either. But we could... I think it's kind of safe to say that Nils had a clear advantage in that game. So even though the disconnection was on his side, Pontus can, if he chooses to, give Nils the first game.
And more importantly, these players are already in cut, so the outcome of this match doesn't really change that fact.
Maybe that's going to matter which one they're going to face in the first stage of semifinals, though.
That is true. Alright, looks like we're going into game 2.
Yeah. So we will assume that Nils won this first game. We're not 100% sure. We'll just keep it there. And
I mean, Pontus confirmed that he's fine with giving him the win. So.
Yeah. But it was a very convincing game there by Nils.
Yeah.
Having his favorite combination of that Mimikyu and Snorlax, which brought him so much success in the 2017 season. Just
Snorlax is the commentator now.
Yeah. But not super common choice in this format, especially not as common as it was last year.
I mean, it's still relatively common. It went down a bit in popularity after Incineroar's release, right? But Pontus and Nils are both big fans of Snorlax, so not terribly surprised to see them both using it.
But we did get a lot of, even though it was a short game, we got a lot of information there. We got the information that Landers 3 from Nils, either Scarfed and Special. We got information that... yeah.
Snorlax is Protect, Belly Drum.
And the fact that Pontus also got a Charge Scarf Landers.
Yeah,
Life for Bisharp, which means that he cannot lead with it as comfortable as we assumed before the game started. Because, you know, seeing Bisharp in Team Preview, you kind of assume that it's going to be Focus Sash, and if you... then you might not be as confident in leading with an Intimidate user.
Yeah, true.
But now, Nils can pretty comfortably lead with, let's say, for example, Landers Coco once again, because he knows that Tapu Koko is going to be able to take out Bisharp with one hit. But he has to watch out. He has to watch out for the Sucker Punch alternative going into the Landers slot if he chooses to decide to go with this.
Yeah, I mean, Sucker Punch 1 KO, but it does do a pretty good chunk. So the question is, if it's worth it to sacrifice your Bisharp for a bit of damage, right?
Might not be. Might not be.
Looks like Pontus is ready. Nils is still thinking things through.
Yeah, and
makes that sense to make as much use of the timer as you can.
Yes, and I would also want to see that Maragross on Nils' side. Because even though he's got 3 ground weaknesses on his side of the field, he did confirm that his Landers is going to be faster than the Landers on Pontus' side, being able to knock it out with one hit.
That could have been a speed tie.
It might have been a speed tie, yeah.
I think that's a good chance too. So Nils just leading Mimelax here. And we'll see how Pontus responds. Okay, he does lead Bisharp, which is a relatively good choice here.
Yeah. But we haven't really confirmed that if the Landers on Pontus' side is physical or special, but we all know how bad the Scarf Rock Slides can be for a team that tries to set up.
I don't think he's gonna go for Scarf Rock Slide turn 1. That's not a very good play. It's more of a desperation play. So I could see... I could even see a U-turn, just going into something else.
Maybe breaking the disguise on the Mimikyu, hoping for getting a trade or something like that. I don't think that he will try to go for a low kick, at least not straight away.
I mean, it could be a play if he's expecting.
We do see the Rock Slide though.
Okay. Okay.
Trying to prevent Nils from going for any type of setup in this first round and the second best of 3 games. Mimikyu flinches. And Bisharp is able to go for a knockoff on Snorlax.
No,
that was huge. Did you call that a desperation play, or?
It is a desperation play.
It is, but it worked. It worked so nicely.
I guess.
Breaking the disguise on the Mimikyu, knocking off Snorlax item, and.
Well, only because the Mimikyu flinched, right?
Yes, he was. I don't think that Mimikyu would have gone down to anything that Bisharp could do for it. No, Iron Head would have taken it out, but considering that it went for a knockoff, it wasn't going to take Mimikyu out. Then, so it kind of depends on if Nils went for a C move for the redirection there, or straight for the Trick Room. We don't know.
I think he wanted the redirection, because if the berry gets knocked off, then.
That is true, and it actually flinched before Bisharp could do anything, so it's kind of safe to assume that Nils didn't go for a Trick Room there, instead going for maybe some redirection.
Pontus going into his own Snorlax here.
Nils bringing his Landers and Pontus Snorlax. So
just keep clicking that Rock Slide, because why not?
Yeah, why not?
Poor Mimikyu can't do anything.
That is terrible, because even though Mimikyu can't really do that much damage-wise on either of the 2 Pokémon on Pontus' side, still been flinched. It does bring your morale down, doesn't it?
What?
It does bring your morale down.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, not just that it flinched, that it completely ruined his game plan. Nils is gonna have a rough time recovering from this.
Yeah,
and now that Pontus' Snorlax is out, well, the Mimikyu and Landers can't do much to it, because that Landers is special, right?
Yeah. Even though it is special, it might be carrying physical type moves, for example, a superpower perhaps, but...
I think superpower is unlikely. Most likely U-turn.
Yeah.
That is used on the special Landers, maybe knockoff, but they're...
So Pontus switching Landers out straight away, maybe preserving the Intimidate for later. getting Tapu Koko in. Landers
Just going
goes
for
for an
the
Earth
Earth
Power.
Power.
Onto the Tapu Koko slot. It's a good prediction there if it was a prediction.
Good read, good read.
But I think it's kind of safe that it is actually a taunt.
Okay.
So let's see if Pontus went for a belly drum there. Ah, he went for a belly drum. Nice play there by Nils, trying to get into the game.
Yeah, pretty impressive considering he got hacks like that turn 1. I think Money would just give up.
It takes a great mind to, you know, just think that something just can't control, then just going for the best play every round, and trying to win in the long run instead of just being mad at hacks.
Yeah, this is how you play around hacks.
Yeah. So even though Mimikyu won't be able to do that much damage-wise on Nils' side, and this being twice intimidated,
He can still go for the Z Destiny Bond and try to pick up a KO
he
that
can.
way.
That is a sneaky way of getting a KO while not being able to do that much damage-wise. Yeah.
Yeah. Nils going into Snorlax perhaps because he knows it's useless at this point. So
I think he's
why
going
not?
to sack the Snorlax off. Assuming that
Just a normal
Snorlax,
Destiny
I
Bond?
think that Snorlax is just going to go for a turn of frustration into the Snorlax slot.
Yeah, Frustration is
yeah.
the move of choice. And there's a good chance Pontus Snorlax, much like Nils, doesn't have any coverage other than return, right?
So Nils sacks his Snorlax there, trying to go for a sneaky Destiny Bond there by Mimikyu. Not working, because why would he go for a normal type of attack move into, or a higher horsepower or something like that into the Mimikyu slot when he knows it carries Destiny Bond?
Indeed. And now the Landorus is back out, threatening the opposing Landorus with an HP Ice.
Yeah, like we saw in game 1. And
So the question is here is, does Pontus just switch his Lando?
Snorlax on Pontus' side is going to be taunted for at least one more turn, isn't it? And
Yeah, and I mean it's
Landorus
not
is
fantastic
threatened,
in this
yeah,
matchup. Okay, withdrawing the Mimikyu, we'll see the last one, and that's Coco.
That is Tapu Koko. And let's see if we... yeah, that is indeed the HBIs.
Yeah,
Was
so
it a
either
roll the first round? It might have been a roll.
Ooh, but this is just a rock slide coming out, so it's
Yeah,
not a huge
but
deal.
you can still flinch and do silly stuff.
It's never fun.
No. So even that return did a substantial chunk to the Landers on the other side, and Nils can just go for another HPIs on the Lander slot. Maybe go for a Volt switch, getting in. Did taunt wear off, by the way?
It just wore off.
Yeah, it just wore off.
So now Pontus is free to go for that belly drum, and I don't know what Nils can do to stop that really.
No. Especially after switching Mimikyu out, maybe he knew that it was a roll on Landers on Pontus' sides, because otherwise why would you switch Mimikyu out when you know that it's not going to be threatened by anything, if you're sure that Landers is going to take out the Landers on the opposing side?
I think Nils expected the HPIs to KO here. I
No.
really do.
But if he did expect it to be a KO, why did he switch Mimikyu out when
Because
taunt
it's
were
not
off?
doing anything. Not when taunt were off, but before it did.
Exactly. So
Because he knows it's gonna go down if he doesn't switch it, right? So he must perhaps thinking, I want to conserve a taunt.
Tapu Koko goes for Thunderbolt into the Bishop slot, should be able to take it out, as it
Yeah,
does.
easily.
But now let's see if Snorlax goes. No, it goes straight for the frustration, not caring to go for a belly drum there.
And that's not ideal, because now the Mimikyu can just taunt the Snorlax again.
Yeah, and I do think that if that Snorlax on the Pontus side isn't carrying anything like Crunch, High Horsepower, Earthquake or anything
It's
like
not.
that,
I think
then
it's pretty much
Nils can
guaranteed.
just keep the Mimikyu alive, knock out the Landers, and he's going to definitely win the game.
In theory, yes, but that Mimikyu is pretty weakened. Enough so that unless Nils switches on his own Landorus, I don't think it takes another attack.
And as we saw in round 1 in the first game, we know that the Landers on Pontus side is going to be faster than the Tapu Koko, and obviously the Mimikyu on Nils' side. So if that Snorlax on Pontus side is carrying Protect, Pontus can kind of safely go for a Earthquake Protector, taking out both Pokemon on Nils' side and maybe getting into a
But
favorable
I would
position.
expect Nils to switch on his own Lando here.
I
And he
would
will.
think so, yes.
And the other thing is that if Pontus does that, he locks himself into Earthquake and can't damage the opposing Landorus with his own Landorus. So the question is that really worth it?
Go to protect. Safe play there by Nils.
Yeah, he wants to know what Pontus locks himself into, and it is Earthquake.
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
Just gonna damage my own Snorlax a bit?
Yeah.
Pontus still not going for that belly drum.
Into the... Is it enough? No.
No.
Not far from it. I think it's -2 now from 2 intimidates.
Yeah, something like that.
So I think that Nils can just pick up a KO on that Landorus.
If he doesn't get flamed.
No, that's true. That's true. But
and again, assuming
if it is a speed tie, that is.
Yeah, speed tie or no speed tie. That's the question.
Yeah. No, Tapicoco is going to be switched out. Maybe afraid of speed tie. I don't know.
I think there's a chance Pontus's Landorus isn't back speed because we saw it lived that HP ice, right? That means it's got some bulk investment.
Yep. But the Tapicoco or the Landorus Therian form on Nils' side is once again faster than the opposing Landorus.
Yes,
going
I think
for a U-turn.
It might in fact
which is going to make it possible to both recycle Electric Surge and get in with another Intimidate.
Yeah, so probably Nils' Landorus is just straight up faster.
Yeah.
Even though they're both Scarf.
Yes.
So interesting.
Even though we haven't seen anything, any other type of attack than normal types on Snorlax, on Pontus side, we can kind of assume that this game is over.
I think it will come down to Snorlax versus Mimikyu, which is gonna be...
But on the other hand, Nils is going to... Oh, that's actually a C move, an Electrium C from Tapicoco.
Okay, dual Z move.
That's going to be...
and that is also something Nils is somewhat known for. I believe he used dual Z move in 2017 as well.
He has been doing a lot of... Actually, Tapicoco and Mimikyu having a C move on both of them.
Yeah, sorta his thing. That's a lot, but not enough.
Snorlax healing up. See, are we going to get a taunt? We are going to get a taunt from
Definitely,
the Mimikyu.
Yeah.
Trying to prevent Snorlax from going for anything, any kind of recycles, belly jumps or anything like that, even though I don't think that belly jump will be a good play per se. I think it was more to prevent any recycles from going off there.
Yeah, at that point he needed to like crit the Tapicoco, then crit the Landorus, and then stall out the Mikyu's PP.
Yeah. Pontus survives there, and I don't know if that is the final game this round or not.
It is.
It is.
It should be.
Yeah, it should, but it kind of depends on how the two players did. So we can assume that we're going to take a short break, and then we're back with
a winner interview.
Yeah. So just be right back.
Yeah, be right back. Alright, hello.
Hello.
I'm here with Nils, our most famous player. And you just won a game against Pontus.
Yeah, exactly.
So, rather interesting to note, you had rather similar teams. Game 1, you both led the exact same thing.
Yeah.
So what were you thinking when you were staring down the same lead?
I knew that my sort of Landorus that was Troy Scarfed, by the fact that it was special, had a much more better matchup than his. Because I could OHKO both of his mons with HP Ice and as well Earth Power. So
but you knew that he wasn't special himself?
Yeah.
Okay, so that makes sense then. Then in game 2, he actually survived the HP Ice with 1 HP remaining.
Yeah.
How did you feel about that?
I was I wouldn't call myself salty, but I know it is a like 85% chance to OHKO, so he got a bit lucky, but who cares, I was able to clutch it out anyway.
Was it luck, or do you think it was a different spread? Because you noticed his Lando seemed to be underspeeding you?
That's true, it could have possibly also been that. I didn't think about that.
Could have been my Lando spread.
Yeah, ooh.
If I give it to him.
Possibly.
Alright, so also rather interesting about those matches in game 2. The first turn, you were Rock Slide flinched, and then Rock Slide flinched again. And how do you play around that? What's like your mentality for dealing with hacks?
Well, mostly just need to play to my outs. I knew that when I got hacked out really hard, I needed to make really hard reads in the coming turns, which obviously isn't fun to need to have that feeling, but I needed to just clutch it out and try to play my best.
Alright, yeah, that's a good mentality to have. And I guess for our last question, you are now qualified for Worlds, yes?
Yeah, exactly.
How are you feeling about it?
I'm actually pretty hyped. I'm on the edge on going to Worlds or not. I possibly am, I possibly not, so I don't really know.
So you're not sure?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I've possibly found a team that I like in this team, so gives me a little bit more hope for the whole series.
Okay, well, I'd like to see you at Worlds, perhaps repeating your impressive performance from last year.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun to see you as well there.
if you come, that is.
Yeah.
Hopefully you do that.
Yeah.
All right.
Other than that, I want, if it's okay to just shout out a person,
Yeah,
I wanted to say hi to my sister, or more or less Mayo Mays, watching the stream, and you're the best and best coach ever.
Coach, okay. All right.
Okay.
Nice to hear some shout outs, and we will see you. Goodbye.
Bye bye.